Well, good morning and welcome to Zen Live, and let's crack the cosmic egg. Okay, we're ready to go. And, it's Sunday morning. I wasn't going to talk, but then I'm sitting on the front porch reading The Bond of Power, and I had an urge. I had something bubbling up. I wanted to speak. I wanted to share. I wanted to crack the egg and make some eggs. And so the title of this one is basically, what did I write down? The Locke of John Locke. John Locke was one of the thinkers that created the Enlightenment. After the breakup of the Middle Ages. It was Newton, Locke, and Descartes, and a few other great thinkers of that age created the modern world. And we need to understand the basic assumptions of this new world created by the European mind. The Western mind was a European mind, created the shift of the Enlightenment that changed reality. So the reality of the European mind was different from pre-literal cultures. All the other cultures of the globe, the European mind created a shift. So we really need to understand what that shift was, because we're living in it now, and it's falling apart. It's breaking up. It's reached its logical conclusion. It's reached the end of its creative existence. So we're kind of like our worldview from the Enlightenment, which was the 1600s, 1700s on, you see, is crumbling today, like the digital pictures on a TV when a storm breaks up your satellite and goes, our reality is breaking up. And it terrifies us because it feels like schizophrenia. It feels like psychosis when your reality breaks up. That's why we get terrified by earthquakes. Ooh, you see, what we assumed was solid is now jello. What is there to hold on to when everything shakes? When everything breaks up, what is there to hold on to? We don't have anything to hold on to, because the mind reality created by the Enlightenment gives you nothing internal to hold on to. So let's look at the world. And I put up here, the camera mind locks us into a dead world. Well, the idea of mind created in the Enlightenment was that the reality is what exists out there. Things, materialism, that's real. And it is revealed to us through our senses. So our mind is kind of like a camera that just takes pictures of what's coming in. And so what is real is what the majority agrees upon is real, and that's called a common sense world. So if somebody is not of course, within this context, you see, we have a lot of people, a lot of movements, a lot of minds that say that's not real and this is real, you see. But that's within the camera mind of the Enlightenment. Nothing has changed. It's just a disagreement over what the common sense reality is. You see, the reality of the enlightened mind, and that is a ironic misnomer, enlightened mind. It's not an enlightened mind. It's a dead mind. A dead mind, you see, because the world is a dead thing. It's made up of dead objects, stuff, material. It's not a living universe, it's a dead universe. See, so all we can do, you see, is to record objectively. There's this belief that the world out there is objectively real and exists whether we're alive or not. This is common sense. I'm born into this world that exists there, this space-time world, and when I die, I drop out, but it still exists. I don't participate in it. I don't create it. I'm a blank tabula rasa. See, and Locke created the educational system out of that. Kids come into the world, they're just blank minds. You got to fill it up with information. They don't create the world, you see. So this whole idea that perception is creation doesn't fit this map. Perception is creation. We are actively, see, this is in quantum physics now. Quantum physics is breaking up the Newtonian worldview of fixed objectivity. And all we have to do is become objective, which is discounting our subjectivity. Our subjectivity in this Newtonian world is just fantasy. Imagination. That's just your imagination. It's not real, you see. So yesterday, last night I gave a talk on the backyard goddess, and some metal detecting fellows came and asked me if they could scan our yard, and they found a little brooch. I don't know if you can see it or not. You have to go to my website and see it. But anyway, it's a little brooch of looks like a Greek goddess. It's a goddess. And it's very clean. It was very interesting that the brooch is all rusty, but this little cameo here was not dirty. And it was just shining like that. And I said, oh, the goddess in my backyard. And so this was the common reality would be that, well, this is just a brooch, and it was just lost there and back in time, and coincidentally somebody came and found it, and that's it. So yeah, that's it. I mean, that's the common sense view of the material. There's no goddess there. Well, I'm not saying that piece of that is a goddess, but synchronicity is something else that we dismiss. And yet, I was just writing about this on Facebook this morning. A friend of mine said, "Wow, I was writing an email to somebody, and I was texted to somebody with a question, and they email back answering the question before they even got it. What a coincidence! Wow, what a fluke! What a impossible coincidence!" So we live in a world where these impossible coincidences are happening all the time. You think of somebody and that, and so I have statues of the goddess all around in there. You see, the goddess Shakti, creative energy. The goddess is creative energy. The creative energy I'm using for this talk is the goddess. Where do you think this comes from? I don't know, but it doesn't come from me. But it's an impulse coming through me. Well, it's just, it's just energy. No, you see. There's no, there's no, in an objective world of just facts, just stuff, you see, we're dead as well as the world. So unless we can interact with the world creatively, unless I have vision, unless I can see the world through the eyes of creative vision, I live in a dead world. I'm the created, you see. And so our worldview makes us into the created, which makes us into a victim, you see. Victimhood is everywhere. Everybody's a victim. The aggressor is, I bet Harvey Weinstein is saying, I'm a victim. Bill Cosby says, I'm a victim. The white supremacist says, I'm a victim too. We're all victims of what? Of this, it's this idea of ourselves as being just a blank camera that the world inflicts itself upon us, you see. And we are completely unconscious of our responsibility for the world we live in. We're completely unconscious of the fact that we're creating the world that we live in. That our perception creates it. But we are conditioned to believe we're vaccinated against God. We're vaccinated against God and insight, intelligence, and our own innate developmental creativity. We're vaccinated against that. So when it appears, we say, oh, it's just imagination. It's just fantasy. The real world is what we all agree is real. Who are you to disagree with common sense? Who are you to disagree with the common meaning of reality? Who do you think you are, Jesus? Who are you to actually see a different world, a beautiful world, a world in which we are all, where God dwells within us as God, where creativity, the creativity of the cosmos is us. We live in a world created by Newton and the enlightened thinkers, it's run like a clock. God is a clockmaker. He made a machine, wound it up, let it go. And we're just bouncing around here, created by chance, a fluke. A billion monkeys if a billion monkeys type for eternity, will they come up with a Shakespearean play? Well, that could be. You see. So this is all breaking up, you see, because we've been locked into a dead world. Now this is interesting too, because if we look at what we're locked into now, for good or bad, is a technological culture. Technology, digital technology, technology has been released. Because we've entered into a alternate reality created by technology. I mean, through this iPad, I got a 60-inch TV sitting over there, and it keeps getting better and better. And you go to Costco and you see a curved 3-dimensional TV, and oh my God, it looks more real than reality. So technology is creating a reality that looks more real and feels more real than this mundane dead world that we're living in according to the Enlightenment, you see. This is a dead world. Nothing new here. It's all just stuff, you see. But the real world now, the exciting world, is created by our technology. And so we're running to that like lemons, you see. Because there we've got everything. But it's all created by technology. So we're still in the same hole we were before. Dead inside, but now we're living in an exciting digital world. And it gets more exciting. We're creating holograms. We're creating 3D, interactive stuff. You can imagine what the future is going to be like. We're going to be totally dependent upon electrical technology. If you unplug it, oh my God, I'm dead. We all have that experience. The internet goes down, oh my God, I'm dead. I'm just in this boring household. What am I going to do? There's nothing here. I can't create anything. Everything is being created for me by the digital technological world, you see. By Google and Facebook and Steve Jobs and all of these gurus, these priests of the technological world are creating the reality I live in. And I just love it, you see. Because it gives me interactivity. But and it also gives me the external way to be creative, you see. In the John Locke camera mind, that reality of Newton has been that you as an individual are just a receiver of sense data, and your job is to be objective, which is a scientist, in order to figure out what the laws are that God created when he made this machine. And if you figure out a new law, well, then you can manipulate the machine. You can change it a little bit. You can tweak the machine, you see. You discover some laws of chemistry and you can make new things, you see. But that's all done by consensus too. So the new idea becomes real if it can be duplicated. If you can't duplicate it, well then it's just your imagination, you see. It's just your fantasy. So anyway, but the whole point is that this view, and it doesn't matter whether it's a religious view or a secular view, they both end up with you and me being dead. In the sense that we're both a receiver. We're both the created. The scientist creates. God creates. But you are the created. Your perception has no input. You have no vision. And if you try to have vision, it will be discounted. Because this common sense world we live in is kind of like a narrow band of reality. And if anybody goes above it, like a genius up here, they're discounted. And if anybody drops below, they're discounted. So the low and the high are both discounted, and it's all being reduced to the common denominator of an objective dead universe. A given universe, you see, that we believe when we're born into something that exists, and when we die, we leave it. And it's still the same. That's just common sense. But it's not true. It's all a map. It's all a way of perception. So the Enlightenment was a new way of perceiving reality, and it created a reality in which we now live in the same way that Steve Jobs' creative imagination created the interactive social media we now live in based in computers. He created that world through his vision, and now we live in it. So Steve Jobs is kind of like the St. Paul of just as a metaphor. I'm sure other people work in it too. I'm not giving on to him. But if you look at that, like St. Paul interpreted the teachings of Jesus into Christianity. And now we live in that world. And so Steve Jobs creates the vision of a technological, interactive world that is intuitive and seamless. He created that through technology, and now we live in that. You see, what's the difference? These technology creators are the new priests, and technology is our church, and we all buy the equipment, and we have to have the equipment now. The cell phone, this thing here, is the sacrament. It's through this that we have entrance into the heaven of the technological world, and get to play there, and get to be there. You see. Everyday world is basically being discounted. But see, the everyday world is real. This is where Zen comes in, why I love Zen. Everyday mind, everyday world is enlightenment. You see. Everyday world is what's real. And the void left by this denial of our inner creativity creates an anxiety, because we're missing our natural development to being the creator and creator/created. Our natural development, planned by nature, is to be a creator of nature, not a victim of nature, not a controller of nature, but a creator of nature. And this is where, in Zen, let me close with that, the Heart Sutra of Zen, which I play on my computer all the time, and which, by the way, when I first heard this Heart Sutra by Imo-e, I believe, it's on YouTube, the goddess of compassion, or the heart, awakened my heart and began to squeeze it with joy and sorrow, like an accordion. It was an amazing experience when I heard that, and my heart began to squeeze, pumping tears of sorrow and joy. It was an overpowering experience. But the point is that the Heart Sutra is the awakening of prajna, which is a mind, an aroused mind that does not rest upon form. Now that is a creative mind. That is the evolution, or the stage, the goal of which the development of consciousness in the brain is going. The creation of a mind that is not dependent upon material things. That is a creative mind. You can imagine what has not existed before. You can see the things that exist, and you can imagine a different way, a different world. You create the world through your vision logic, through your creative logic, you see. A few people have that, and they change the world, and we live in the world they create. But we miss the boat when we think, well, only they can do it, or only Jesus could do it, you see. That's the trick. That's the illusion. Well, you can't create miracles like Jesus because he was God, so only he could do it. That was a once-in-a-moment time, you know. You're not. Who do you think you are, Jesus? Think you can do miracles? You think you can create a reality through your perception? Through your intention? You think you can achieve miracles through your intention? Who do you think you are? You see, you're just a camera. All you do is record stuff, you see. Anyway, thanks for dropping in. And I hope as these talks develop, and I hope you follow me, and you can go to my website, tokillaminotaur.com. And I'm really on a path of discovery, and I'm sharing it with you as we go. So it may be a meandering. I don't know what we'll talk about tomorrow, you see. But we are on a voyage of discovery to awaken our inner creativity. To awaken our inner creativity, where you are the center of the world, and the world is you. Where you are the world, and the world is you. God dwells within you as you see. Not out there as some judgment, as some clockmaker that we have to petition to get a little favor, you see. No. So let's change the world. Let's crack the cosmic egg, you see. Here it is. It's as simple as that. We can crack this egg and we can be free. So thanks for dropping in.